guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled "A Karen Insisting I'm Her Lyft Driver." For context, I've been a Lyft driver for 4 years but haven't since COVID started. I don't have my amp in the window but I still have the sticker on the car. I have an online order for pickup at Walmart for supplies for the incoming hurricane. So I'm driving into the parking lot and am searching for the pickup parking spots. I drive by the exit door, looking for these spots, when I see a woman eyeing my car as she walks out of the store. At the same time, a car attempts to pull out and nearly hits me, but doesn't. As I start to move forward to continue my search, the woman stands next to my car, yelling, and pointing at my car, then her saying, "You're looking for me." I vigorously shake my head no, pull away, and continue my search. After I found a cart guy in the parking lot, he told me they were back the way I came. Crap. So, I drive back the way I came and I can see the same woman standing by the exit, glaring at my car. I avoid eye contact and finally find the pickup parking. I pull up and wait, eating a bit of my dinner while I do so. As I'm eating my mac and cheese, I hear someone angrily yell, "Are you not a Lyft driver?" from my passenger side. The same woman had walked 5 rows from the exit to track me down. She begins yelling and gesturing at my sticker and asking, "Why aren't you picking me up?" I felt at this point, ignoring her would be less than ideal, so I rolled down my passenger window just enough. I looked her in the eye and said calmly, "Ma'am, I'm not working right now." She throws her hands in the air, looks around wildly, and says, "Give me a ride." I told her I am not her Lyft driver and suggested she contact her driver through the app. She yells, "Well, ducking great. Where's my Lyft driver then?" I just quickly rolled the window back up as she stormed away. I feel like this shouldn't have to be said, but please double check your app with the Lyft, Uber you're getting into. And don't stalk down strangers in their cars. The next story is titled "No Random Lady, Your Bratty Daughter Cannot Ride My Horse." I, 20F, was grooming my horse Clyde yesterday when a woman came up to me, tugging along a kid around 6 or 7. For context, the stable hands, trainers don't need to wear a specific clothes, although they usually wear the stable shirts to be more recognizable towards new people. I was wearing some tan breeches and a red polo, nothing really special, but I tended to get confused as staff pretty often, which I understand. The Karen was wearing way too expensive looking clothes to be at a barn, but I assumed she was just going to drop off the kid and come back at the end of the lesson. As I saw her direct her attention towards me, I prepared my whole speech about how I didn't work there and where I could direct you to go. Before I could even get a word out, she launched into a tirade about how terrible the service was and how she had spent hours trying to find someone to help her. I doubt it was more than 5 minutes, the stable wasn't that big. "Oh, I began, being cut off by her screaming in my face to let her kid ride my horse. I tried to calmly explain that no, her kid couldn't ride my horse and no, she cannot let her ride any other horses in the barn. Not matter what I said, I couldn't convince her that I didn't work there and that couldn't just let her daughter ride. Clyde is not fully trained as I recently got him, and still very young and inexperienced. I wouldn't even let a kid groom him, as he tends to nip at people. The kid proceeded to try to duck past me and try to pet his nose. I grabbed the kid's shoulder and gently pushed her back, genuinely worried about Clyde biting her. Karen gasped and screamed, "My daughter has every right to touch that horse. She's probably even better with horses than you are. Besides, you're just a worker, so you dare push my kid." That made me blow my casket. "Your daughter is not going to touch my horse. He is not suitable with kids and could injure your daughter. Your daughter does not know more than me. I've been riding for 15 years, and I don't work here. Leave me alone," I shouted, wanting to punch that Karen straight in the face. At this point my horse was starting to freak out and I turned to lead him back to his stall and just calm him and myself. Some band staff came running over, trying to ask what was happening. The woman kept screaming at me, but I just couldn't deal with her anymore and walked away, since the staff had her occupied. My friend, who worked there, told me that they had to threaten to call the cops to get her to leave, because she kept demanding to have her child ride every single horse she saw. She is also banned from the stable now, so happy ending at least? The next story is titled "How I Got a Store Manager Fired for Selling My Property to a Karen Mom." I'm 26 meters and am both autistic and have severe PTSD from some childhood trauma caused by both of my parents that I really don't want to get into. I'm on a few different medications for depression and migraines and have to live in Section 8 housing that I just moved into a few months ago after being on the waiting list for years. I don't like being touched or loud noises. And I certainly don't like seeing anyone take my stuff. When I moved to this city for the Section 8 housing, I'd been gifted a brand new Razor kick scooter by a friend to get around my new area with. And I love it. It's black and made a bit sturdier than typical ones for an adult to ride and has bigger wheels. It also isn't sold in the local stores, but they have similar looking ones in the bike department. And obviously I don't just leave it outside when I go into a store. I fold it up and put it in my cart while shopping. I look kind of twitchy, so most people leave me alone. And I'm just fine with that. But touch me without consent or take my stuff and be ready for a massive freakout. I went down the canned food aisle and started browsing the chunky soup. When I picked what I'd wanted and put the cans in the cart, I noticed my scooter was gone. And there was a woman with a kid fast walking away while carrying it. I shouted after them to return my scooter. But they ignored me, so I abandoned my cart to give chase. When I caught up to the lady and the kid, I tried to take my scooter back and the kid screamed so loud my eardrums felt like they were going to pop. And the Karen mom shoved down while yelling something I didn't hear because my ears were ringing. And my brain just stopped working for a moment. A manager noticed the commotion and came to see what the trouble was. I didn't even get a chance to speak when the Karen mom started calling me a creep and was demanding I be thrown out. I kept trying to explain what really happened, but the Karen just kept yelling over me. We were separated and I was made to sit in an office. The manager approached me, and I asked him where my scooter was, and he admonished me and said it was sold to the Karen, and I shouldn't have tried to take it from the kid when they were just trying to buy it from the store. Then he pointed out he had to give the Karen a discount just because of the situation. I understandably freaked out and told him that the Karen had taken my scooter that I came into the store with. And it wasn't sold there. The manager just looked confused, and I nearly broke down. Then I pulled my phone out and showed him a picture a friend had taken of me with the scooter right after I'd gotten it. The next thing I knew, he was running out of the room. And when he finally came back, he said that the Karen was long gone. I pulled out my phone back out and started frantically calling the police. The manager actually tried to stop me by putting his hand over my phone, and I freaked out from him touching me. He backed off because I'd nearly kicked him and was panicking and saying he'd buy me another scooter from the store. I told him that my scooter was expensive and didn't come from their store. And I wanted mine back. Well, it turned out I had managed to dial 911 because the police were already listening in on the line and the operator was trying to get my attention. I just told them to send someone over because my property had been stolen. I had to wait for another hour at least while police showed up and then went through the CCTV footage. It clearly showed me entering the store with the scooter and showed the Karen and her crotch goblin taking it from my cart. And the mess that followed when I tried to get it back. I wanted my scooter back and police had to find the Karen from the camera footage of the parking lot. They found her address by running her plate number they got from the camera footage, and I got to ride in the back of a police car while we went to her apartment. The officer knocked on her door and I didn't hear the situation because I was still sitting in the back of the car with the windows closed. But the Karen mom looked really angry and eventually brought out the scooter after some back and forth. She practically had to wring it out of her kid's hands. I got let out of the car and they asked me if I wanted to press charges for assault because the mother had shoved me. She looked ghost white when I said I did want that. But the Karen started crying and begging me. She said that she honestly thought it was something the store was selling, and it was her kid's birthday. I yelled that didn't excuse her stealing from someone else's cart, let alone from a legally disabled man. Her kid was also loudly crying, and my ears were hurting again. So, I said I wouldn't press charges on her if she didn't come near me or my stuff again. But I wanted something done about the manager at the store for letting this happen. And I was ready to ride my scooter all the way back there. But the police convinced me that it'd be better if I just went home and calmed down. I later learned on my next visit to the store a couple days later that manager was fired over what happened because he already had a few complaints against him and didn't bother to check that the scooter wasn't one of theirs. And the store gave the Karen and her kid a replacement Razor scooter that they had in stock because she'd already paid for one. But she was also banned for 6 months from the store for shoving me and stealing my property. I was also given a $50 gift card for some free groceries since I wasn't able to buy anything the day that mess happened. Now every time I go into that store a few of the employees know me by name. And one actually told a random kid to leave me alone when he asked about my scooter. I certainly keep a better eye out now too. I've also since added a name tag on the underside of the scooter with my full name on it just in case this happens again. The next story is titled Matthias, the Karen Crusher. I'm not entirely sure if this fits here, but it does involve misidentifying someone's profession, though unconventionally for this sub. Still, I think you guys will get a kick out of it. I sure did. This is a story about a friend, Matthias. He's from Sweden, visiting in the States for a while. He has no discernible accent, but he does occasionally force one for dramatic effect or to catch people off guard. We're approaching the checkout line in a small grocery store, grabbing some Gatorades when we hear it. The howls of a Karen, berating the cashier over an apparently expired coupon. The Karen was a stocky, pale woman of about 50, and short with her hair up in a knot, wearing an unseasonably warm faux fur jacket over her tight t-shirt and shorts that didn't quite cover her ass cheeks. If a blind hooker dressed herself in the dark, you might get something close to this. We only caught the tail end of the tirade, but heard the Karen spewing the typical idiot, useless, and fired, amongst other incoherent grunts and whines and growls. Note: I will paraphrase here, as I can't even write a Swedish accent, so just imagine one. Without missing a beat, Matthias jumps into action, approaching the Karen. "Oh wow," he exclaims, looking back to me in a deliberately embellished accent. "Do you know who this is? This is Miss Sandy Bottoms. The most favorite vintage porn star in all of Sweden." I thought he was serious at first, before the subtle wink. Still, I didn't know what he was doing, only that he was up to something diabolically mischievous. He then proceeds to gush over her body of work. Turning his attention to the cashier, he continues, "You must respect this woman, she is famous. Haven't you seen her films? It's not just porn, it's erotic art. She was the mom in Summerream Schoolgirls. She practically invented the ping-pong ball trick. She was a pioneer. Many people don't know this, but the adult industry used to be very misogynistic. But when she saw a glass ceiling, she blasted through it, firing little plastic pussy balls like a howitzer. I tried so hard to keep my composure, but there was so much wrong with that sentence. Tears were welling up in my eyes as I tried not to laugh. To every woman on the planet, I'd like to apologize for my friend." He continues, "Don't laugh, she's won awards." The Karen, now meekly trying to get a word in, "I think you might be mistaken. No, you did win those awards, and you deserve them. Your movie, The Equestrian, was a masterpiece, wasn't it?" he said, directing that last question to me. I could only shake my head. I didn't dare open my mouth. I knew where he was going now. "You have to see it. It's about a nun in a 14th century convent and her forbidden love with a horse. It sounds strange, but the story is beautiful." Matthias, now looking back to Karen, "I even won the online auction for the riding whip you used on Mother Superior in that movie. I wish I had it here, I would ask you to autograph it." At this point, Karen is still silent, in absolute shock, wide-eyed, unblinking. Her lips are moving, but no sound is coming out, and she's shaking her head. Then there's a large inhaling gasp, like she had forgotten to breathe until just now, and she scurries quickly out the door, abandoning her shopping and coupons. The cashier is dumbfounded. She has no idea what just happened. Her brain hadn't processed it all yet. She quietly leans forward and whispers, "So, that lady, she's a porn star?" Matthias, now in a totally American accent, says, "Nah, I have no idea who that idiot was." The next story is titled Got Assaulted at a Grocery Store for Wearing a Manager Costume. XXL. I was shopping at a store that rhymes with Strafse this weekend on the way home from a really awesome date night with my fiancé. So I was dressed pretty nicely, black jacket, black skirt, and heels. Fiancé and I usually go our separate ways in the store to achieve the best efficiency of finishing our list as fast as possible, so I was alone when this interaction started. An older Karen, probably around 60, was putting around the soup aisle and hemming and hawing at the sale, 10 for $10, and I guess she saw me with my cart putting something back on the shelf. She cleared her throat a few times and stomped around, but obviously I was just minding my own business. Hey, lady. Me. Deciding between Strafse brand mac and cheese or Kraft. Hey you. Manager. Excuse me. Hey. Me. Finally acknowledging her. Oh me? I'm not a manager. Did you need some help or something? Well, obviously you're a manager, why else would you be dressed like that? Which of these soups count for the 10 for 10? Me. I'm not a manager, I don't work here, and I don't know. Probably the ones that are directly labeled in the sign that says 10 for 10? K. What the hell is your problem? Me. You're the one yelling at me. Karen stomped over, wagging her finger at me like I was a child, yelling at me about customer service, how I should do my job and help her choose her soups, and all that's wrong with the youth today. Something also along the lines of me getting fired for incompetence. I don't know, I zoned out. Me. Ma'am, if you need help, please go up to one of the cashiers that work here and ask them. I'm here buying food like you. K. Stop lying. Do you think I'm stupid? You're a ducking manager here. You're wearing the costume, you think you can just. Me. Okay, listen, Then Karen smacks my hand, making me drop the box of mac and cheese I was holding. K. Don't ducking interrupt me. Me. What the hell, lady, you just hit me. K. Yeah, I did. You interrupted me. Me. Seriously, what the hell? At this point, my fiancé heard my yelling and zoomed over. He was also dressed nicely, button up, black slacks, the works. F. What's happening, babe, are you alright? Me. She just slapped my hand because she's too thick to hear me when I say I don't work here. F. What? K. You need to fire this idiot, she won't do her job. F. Do you really think everyone dressed remotely nice is a manager? Crickets. K. Well, I know she is. She was putting back that jar earlier. Me. Because I didn't want to buy it, you dumbass. K. You can't talk to me that way. Me. Babe, grab an actual manager please, I want to call the cops on this crazy idiot. K. I'm a paying customer. Me and F. So are we. This is getting long, so the rest of it went like this. She stepped back in shock that we both yelled at her and fiancé waved over some poor unsuspecting person. The actual manager got there and the lady started her BS again about how both me and my fiancé should get fired, how we suck, etc. blah. She proudly admitted to hitting me BTW, which was hilarious. The manager looked at us and back at her and told her to apologize for hitting me and that she should leave. She again mentioned my manager costume, and how it's my fault. The manager, in his actual manager outfit, pointed at his badge and name tag, his specific all-black outfit, and tried to explain to her that all managers are dressed like he was. That we were definitely not managers just because we looked nice, and she's assaulting another customer. K. But she deserved it for talking back to me. The manager had this, "I want to run you over with a car" look on his face, and he slowly spoke to her like she was 3, again explaining that we didn't work there. I piped up, asking the manager politely to inform the woman that if she didn't apologize I would like him to call the police and file for assault. The manager repeated this to the lady slowly, and the lady screeched and threw a can on the ground, swiped her arm through a bunch of the soups causing them to avalanche to the ground, and briskly waddled out of the store. We helped the manager pick up the soups, even though he kept saying sorry and that we didn't have to help him, and he asked if I really wanted to press charges. I said no, there's no point, I just thought it would make her go away, but if he wanted to make a police report I would be happy to provide my statement. We laughed about my manager costume, and got a $30 gift card to use for our groceries. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.